Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
We are from C group. We will present about pragmatics. Let me introduce our group. My name is Tiffany Fadela Iriati.
My name Narisa Titis Masayu.
My name is Muhammad Ilman Fauzi.
My name is Rita Wahyuni.
First of all, there is the table of contents. That are the first is definition and kinds. The second is function. The third is characteristic, and the fourth is example. Definition and kinds. A definition of pragmatics. The study of the practical aspect of human action and talk. The study of the use of linguistic signs, words and sentences in actual situation. And the last, pragmatics as the basic for all language interaction and context. It is a key feature to the understanding of language and the responses that follow this. Therefore, without the function of pragmatics, there would be very little understanding of intention and meaning. And then there is the kinds. The kinds are conversation analysis, discourse, given versus new information, implication, interproportional relation, pragmatics, reference, semantics rule, speech art, and last is truth.
Okay, the next is function of pragmatic. This inclusive grouping of meaning and pragmatic function is made because of the difficulty that theory have in making in practice a sharp distinction between semantic and pragmatic. The topic that have been investigated and present under this topic are weighted heavily toward the pragmatic. An expanded edition of the glossary project for the future will likely include much additional terminology relating to the various areas of concern in semantics, especially case frame, that is, type of prediction or proposition, and more semantic rules.
Characteristic 1. Pragmatic is the study of relationship between saying, symbol, and their interpreter. 2. Pragmatic, the study of language use. 3. Pragmatic is the study of the relationship between language and context, which is the basis of an explanation of language understanding. 4. Pragmatic studies on deicing, implicature, presupposition, speech act, and aspect of discourse structure. 5. Pragmatic is the study of how language is used to communicate, especially the relationship of sentence to context and usage. 6. Pragmatic is the study of language and functional perspective. In this study, tries to explain aspects of linguistic structure by referring to non-linguistic influences and causes.
Well, I'm Ilman Fauzi. So there are three examples of pragmatics. For the first, there is how are you? This everyday greeting is rarely met with a response that involves discussing every medical and personal detail that may affect how the person is feeling on a given day, which would make up a literal response to the question. Instead, you might respond to the question with, "Fine, how are you?" This would be a pragmatic response since you are making a presupposition that the speaker's intention was for the question to be an implied greeting and not a literal question about how you are doing at that exact moment. And second, luggage must be carried on the escalator. This sentence on a referential sign in an airport in linguistically ambiguous. Although not usually pragmatically ambiguous, someone who has never gone to an airport before might misinterpret the semantic and literal meaning as a command that everyone must rush over the escalator while carrying their luggage. But thanks to pragmatics, the inclusion of context with the sign, you know that the sign only applies to the people who are actively taking luggage onto the escalator. Not to everyone. The context of the situation determines the sentence meaning. And the last, I have two sons. While not necessarily ambiguous, this sentence contains an implication that the speaker has no more than two sons. However, it's possible the speaker could have more than two sons and the statement would still be truthful. Pragmatics incorporates the context of an utterance to determine meaning. Therefore, a preceding question of "Do you have any children?" would change the response implication to be the speaker only has two children, two sons. Furthermore, a preceding question of "Do you have any sons?" would change the response implication to be the speaker might have one or more daughters in addition to having two sons. Well, thank you very much. That's all about pragmatics and the last essay. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.